We're rendering our shop template, but we're not rendering any dynamic content. That, however, is the whole idea of this module. We got our admin data with the products. So let's actually take these products out of admin data products. And now we want to pass that into our template, inject it into our template so that we can use it in this template file and somehow output it there. To do that, we can simply pass a second argument to the render method. The render method allows us to pass in data that should be added into our view. Here, we can simply pass products. However, not like this, but as a JavaScript object where we map it to a key name, which we then can use in the template to refer to the data we're passing in. And we can pass in prods, simply to avoid naming confusion. You could use products. But then I'll bind my products, so this constant, to the prods key in this object. This is passed into this template, and now in the template, we will just be able to access prods. This is now available. By the way, we can also pass more than one field. We could pass in let's say a doc title, which is shop, and now we can use that too. And let's maybe start with the doc title, so this additional field we're passing in this object. In shop Pug, let's say the title here should actually be that doc title. For this, we can use the custom templating syntax Pug gives us. And if you just want to output some text, this is a hashtag followed by 2 curly braces. And between these curly braces, you can put any value you're passing into your view. So any field you have in this object, like doc title. We can use that and simply refer to doc title here. If we now save that and we go back to our page, right now it's still my shop, right? If I now reload, it's shop. And it is shop because this is the title I'm storing in doc title here. And doc title is what we're outputting here. So this flow is important to understand. Now, of course, we can also use that to output our products. For this, next to the header, so on the same indentation level, this is important because it defines the nesting of the HTML. We can add the main element, just as we have it here. And now I don't want to have this H1 paragraph here. Instead, now I want to output my products with this code. So I'll copy it over, even though it is HTML code, but we'll adjust this and transfer it to Pug code. So the div here becomes just .grid. You don't need div, because if you don't have anything, it's assumed to be a div. The article with this class becomes article dot product item. However, important, if you got multiple classes, you need to merge them and simply concatenate them, separated by dots. And never forget the indentation. The article should be inside of this div with this class, so let's indent it one level. Here, we got an indented header because it's nested in the article. And this header also has this class here. So let's add it like this. And then in the header, we got a h1 tag. So let's also indent this. And here again, this has a CSS class. Now it also has some text, and you simply separate the text with a white space from the element. And you never need closing tags here. That is handled for you by Pug. So this is really a syntax that is very different to normal HTML, and it's really up to you if you like that or not. I personally don't work too much with it, but if you like it, this can of course allow you to write very lean HTML files. We don't need the closing header tag because again, this is added automatically. So we can move on to the card image, which should be next to the card header. So let's indent, remove that smaller than sign, add this class here without the class keyword, and let's add the image inside of there. We get an image, and again, as before, with the links here, if you have attributes, you wrap them in normal brackets like this, so like the source and also the alt key. You can always, by the way, also use emmet here. This is the plugin which helps you with auto-creating this. If you type the tag or the class name with a dot at the beginning and hit enter, it will auto-complete that for you and give you the respective Pug representation. And there we saw that we actually need a comma after source right before alt. So now this will create an image nested in this card image. Don't need the closing div tag. Now the card content is also a sibling to the card image. So let's indent this, remove that, and add this dot here. And let's do the same for the h2 tag. Indent it, turn it into a Pug conform setup here. We have some text next to it like this. For now that's static, later this will become dynamic. And let's also do the same here for the paragraph. Add the class here and have some static text and remove the closing tag. Now we're almost done, only a couple of elements to go. We got a div. Now this should be also next to card content, so let's indent it. A div, as I mentioned, doesn't have a tag you need to add. You can just have dot something, so dot and the class name. If you have no class, of course, you would write a div, otherwise there is nothing. The button is inside of card actions, and this does have a class again. And then it does have some text inside of it, which we add next to the button element. And all these closing tags can be removed. Now this outputs a grid of product cards, however, only with static content. Now to make this less static, we need to iterate through all the products. And remember that we do pass the products into the view here on the prods key. So to iterate and repeat this article for all the products, we can simply add a special syntax provided by Pug. And you do create such a loop by adding the each keyword, then a value in which you want to store the value for the current iteration, so a single product in our case, and then in, and then the array for which you want to loop. So this would be prods in our case. Again, with prods referring to this key in this object we're passing to our view. So now we're looping through the prods. Let's all indent this into the loop so that we repeat this entire block for each product in this prods array. And now we can use the product variable, which we're creating on the fly here, to output the data, like the title. Here, we could output hashtag, and then again, just product.title. Because remember, a single product we add to this array here is an object with a title key. We do create this here in admin.js. We push a new object with a title key. This is one single product, as we'll have it when we loop through it. So this is what we add here, or what we output here. With all these changes in place, if we now save this and we reload this page, we don't see anything because we have no products yet. But if we add a first book here, we do actually see that here. And we see that the image does not work anymore. Let me quickly add another free-to-use image. You can, of course, simply Google for any image that you can use as a dummy image here for now. Once you got one, take that source, whichever it is, and simply replace it here. This is only for practice purposes here. So now if we repeat this, this looks much better. By the way, if you only change something in the template, as I just did, you don't need to restart the server, and Nodemon will not do so, because the templates are not part of your server-side code. They are basically just templates which are picked up on the fly anyways, so if you change them for the next request that's coming, they will automatically take that new version already. So with this, we got a basic introduction to Pug. It's strange, very minimal syntax, and how you can output single values like some text, or also loop through some items. Now, of course, we could have the case that we got no products at all. So one common thing you also want to do is you want to ensure that you have a conditional check and render either content A or content B. And we can do that too with Pug. We can add an if statement and check if product's length, so if this array of products is greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, then we'll output this. So let's indent it all into the if statement, because then we do have some products to output. Otherwise, I will go into the same level as grid here, as the if statement, and add an else block, because otherwise I will output a h1 tag where I say no products. With this, now if I restart the server to clear my products array, and I reload this page, I actually get an error because, of course, it's prods here, Remember, we're passing prods as a key, not products. So prods is what I should check here. Now if I reload, I see no products, but if I add one, first book, like this, now we see that instead. So now we got the three most important parts: outputting simple text and so on, outputting a list, and outputting conditional content. This is Pug in a nutshell, and this is how you use templating engines in Express.js in general. Now feel free, as a practice, to play around with that and also work on that add product HTML page and replace all these items or all the content here with Pug templates. Keep the HTML code around, don't delete these files so that we can easily switch to other templating engines later, but make sure you add Pug templates for the other two pages and that you render them. Also feel free to inject some dynamic code like the page title. In the next lecture, we'll do that together.